Fossils by Anne O. Squire. Most Tyrannosaurus rex skeletons are about 40 feet, 12 meters, long. Contents: Clues from the past. What are fossils? Preserved in stone. How are fossils created? A sticky situation. Are all fossils bones? The big truth. Mary Anning, fossil hunter. How did an 11-year-old girl become a famous fossil hunter? Paleontologists dig up an ancient rhinoceros skeleton. Here, there, and everywhere. Where are fossils found? Learning from fossils. What can fossils tell us about the past? True statistics. Resources. Important words. Index. About the author. Fuels from ancient fossils supply many of our energy needs today. Chapter 1. Clues from the past. Did you ever wonder how scientists have learned so much about Earth's history? How do we know what the dinosaurs looked like, what they ate, or where they lived? How do we know that fish existed before mammals? How have we learned about our human ancestors? The answer to these questions is through the study of fossils. Fossils are the remains or traces of animals and plants that have been preserved in the Earth's rocky crust. Archaeopteryx is considered the earliest bird. Digging up fossils. Most fossils are buried beneath the earth. Paleontologists excavate or dig and remove them from the surrounding rock. Fossils are delicate, so scientists must work carefully. Excavators may mist water on the rock to soften it. Then they use tools such as dental picks to chip the rock away. Large bones are usually encased in plaster of Paris to protect them for transport. They are shipped to laboratories for further study. Paleontologists carefully excavate a 10-million-year-old rhinoceros skeleton in Nebraska. The Hadrosaurus lived in what is now New Jersey. This fossil shows the scaly skin of a Hadrosaurus. Bones and more. When you think of a fossil, you probably picture a dinosaur bone or even a complete skeleton. But fossils can be more than just bones. Teeth, shells, and other hard parts of plants and animals can also become fossils. Sometimes an animal leaves behind traces such as footprints, tooth marks, or even impressions of its skin. Clear fossil impressions of dinosaur skin give us a good idea of what these ancient animals looked like. Chapter 2. Preserved in stone. We know that fossils are usually excavated from layers of rock. But how did they get there? The materials surrounding the fossil didn't start out as rock. In fact, most fossils were formed underwater, or in places where the ground was wet and soft. The process of fossilization begins when a plant or animal dies and is quickly covered up by layers of mud or sand. Let's take a look at an example of how this happens. Fossilized footprints tell us that this desert was once a soft, wet swamp. Becoming a fossil. Some 200 million years ago, a shallow ocean covered what is now California. A fish living in the ocean died and sank to the bottom. Before another animal had a chance to eat it, the fish was covered by a thin layer of sand. Over time, layers of sand and mud piled on top of the fish's body, burying it deep under the ocean floor. The skin and soft parts of the fish decayed, leaving only the skeleton behind. To become a fossil, a fish would have to be quickly buried before any other marine animals tried to eat it. Some of today's deserts were once covered by oceans and lakes. A skeleton is fossilized after spending millions of years under the earth. After millions of years, there were many, many layers of sand covering the fish. The pressure from the upper layers was so great that the lower layers hardened into rock. The bones of the fish were trapped inside the rock. As water seeped through tiny cracks and spaces in the rock, it dissolved minerals in the fish's bones. Other, harder minerals replaced them. The result was a petrified fossil of the fish's skeleton. Sometimes several fossilized fish or other animals are found together. Finding fossils. Millions of years later, Earth's climate has changed, and portions of the ocean have dried up. Earthquakes altered the landscape, bringing deep layers of rock to the surface. Rocks that were once at the bottom of an ocean are now pushed up to form a mountain range. Present-day paleontologists excavating a California hillside are thrilled. They find the perfectly preserved skeleton of the fish that sank to the bottom of the sea all those years ago. Important words. Clone. To grow an identical plant or animal from the cells of another plant or animal. DNA. The molecule found inside every cell in the body, containing information on how each cell should work. Extinct. No longer found alive. Fossil fuels. Coal, oil, or natural gas formed from the remains of prehistoric plants and animals. Fossilization. The process of turning into a fossil. Fossils. Bones, shells, or other traces of animals or plants from millions of years ago preserved as rock. Paleontologists. Scientists who study fossils to learn about ancient life forms. Petrified. Something that has become hard like stone because minerals have seeped into its cells. Predators. Animals that live by hunting other animals for food. Sedimentary rock. Rock formed from many layers of sediment that have been pressed together.